Okay, engage in physical exercises to make sure I'm physically fit. Anything else? How do I prepare physically, mentally, emotionally? Anything else? Okay? If somebody is living positively, they have to ensure their bodies are fit enough to be able to go through the pressures of pregnancy.
Today we are discussing
to go through the changes that come up with pregnancy. Apart from that, they should also, under physical, you also look at, apart from living positively, the general health of your body. If there are nutritional deficiencies, make sure you take care of those before
the transportation of goods,
you get pregnant, because once you get pregnant, you will be sharing whatever you have, whether it's the food or the
goods
nutrients or
transportation.
whatever. When you eat, you are eating for two. Whatever is happening is for two. So you make sure you are physically fit, you are physically okay for you to be able to carry through the pressure of pregnancy. Mentally, you make sure you are mentally okay, you are mentally ready to go through all the changes. There will be metabolic changes because of some hormones that are being released in your body. There will be issues of sometimes you have maybe morning sicknesses where you vomit. Sometimes you cannot eat certain foods. So if you are not mentally prepared for that, it becomes an issue. Emotionally, you make sure you are emotionally well, you are emotionally okay to carry through all those changes that are happening. That's why you find some people are pregnant, but they still want to wear those tight clothes and stuff like that. They don't want to wear the loose clothes that are expected. Why? They are not emotionally prepared. They still want to look small and to look young and to, but it cannot happen. Okay? So the moment you find someone who is dressed in a somehow way yet they are pregnant, just know they are not emotionally prepared for
accounted to
because they
over
are supposed to wear
6
nicely loose
billion
clothing
worth of goods
so that they don't
annually.
tighten the child
Air
as
transportation
it's,
alone
growing
accounted
inside them.
to
Are we
almost
together there? Can we proceed?
$6 billion worth of goods annually. Whereas when it comes to by value, this air transportation accounted up to 35%. That is the value of the contribution of this mode of transportation.
Before getting pregnant, a woman should consider the following. Ensure to have a healthy body weight. I think those are some of the things that I was explaining. Have a healthy body weight. Now, if you are already underweight, by the time you get pregnant, it means the fetus that will be growing inside you will be affected as well, because he or she will not get enough.
That are responsible for overseeing the activities
there are issues that
with
also affect
air transportation.
Fertility.
And
men
one of the
who are
bodies
obese
that are so
can
much
sometimes
concerned
have low
with
sperm count.
air transportation
If a man
in
is
terms
too
of
big,
regulating and
it sometimes
controlling,
has an effect
one of it is called
on their sperm count, and that
IATA.
can lead
The other day we were discussing multimodal
issues of
transportation.
infertility.
I also mentioned this one in passing.
Excess body fat in a woman can also
What is
disrupt
this
their menstrual cycle.
This is an
In the process affecting
association. Is
the
an
being
association
pregnant or not.
of players
So
in the
that's
aviation
why
industry,
it's very
or the
necessary
coming together
that
of these
you
players
make
that are
sure
there
your
in the
body
aviation
weight
industry.
is
So who are these players?
as
The
expected. You
airlines.
have a healthy body weight.
This is International Air Transport Association, IATA. Others call
make sure you eat adequate and balanced diet. It leads to healthy
air transportation,
a healthy woman, hence favorable environment for the baby's growth. We make sure we eat balanced diet. Remember, we already talked about the different guidelines that we're supposed to follow for us to have a healthy, balanced diet.
Aviation
so
or air
this lady, before this is before she gets pregnant. We are preparing to have a baby. I should already start having a balanced diet so that my body is ready for all those pressures and everything.
Industry. Now,
remember, we talked of the mental and psychological, the mental, emotional, and physical changes.
Is that of making sure that there is,
if the man is not prepared for the
air users or those that are using air transport,
for the demands that the woman will have, it will bring problems. There will be chaos in the home.
They are safe.
So instead of the baby being a blessing, the baby who is underway being a blessing, it becomes an issue.
So
we need to be physically fit. Very important. Let's not wait to get pregnant to become physically fit, but even prior to pregnancy
is basically categorized into
need for regular medical care
or two major
very
classes
important. We are planning to get pregnant. Let's have
via air.
Regular medical visits.
So let us look at those types, the major types or the major classes
certain health
of cargo that is transported,
and you are not even sure that you have them.
We call
until
it
something
general
happens.
cargo.
Okay.
And the other one
you have
is
an accident, for
special
example,
cargo.
you go to the hospital and they tell you your blood pressure is very high.
We should
Yet all along you never knew you had blood pressure.
Follow each and every.
Okay? So it's very important when you're planning to get pregnant to make sure
doesn't matter
regular
the state of the cargo. It
I
can
was
be
talking when we're looking at
the cargo is in
guidelines for
the cargo is in liquid form, solid form. That one doesn't matter.
It's very rare
let's take
in
it
our culture
the cargo that is transported using air transportation can be categorized into two
I go
major
to Central
categories.
Hospital, I'll find a long queue.
What is
and
this,
I have to wait on the queue for a long time. Yet I'm not feeling sick. I have other things to do.
We are looking at general cargo. This is the kind of shipments that do not require extra precautions
regular
or
checkups.
special
so that will
handling
help to
mechanisms.
Bring to a check
This
certain
is the kind
health
of cargo
conditions,
that
maybe before they even escalate, before they get out of hand. They already tell you, you are showing signs of diabetes, start doing ABCD. So it is brought to a check before it even gets
hardware,
out of hand.
textile, and many other goods that you
if
transport.
there are
for
chronic
example,
conditions like diabetes, HIV, sexually transmitted diseases, they have to be taken care of before somebody gets pregnant. That's why this time it's mandatory. When somebody is pregnant, they have to undergo an HIV/AIDS test. Whether you like it or not, you have to do that. Why? Because it has an effect on
this is special cargo.
It's possible to have an HIV positive mother
the
and
cargo
an HIV
or the goods
baby if
that are due to their nature,
procedures and processes.
weight, dimensions, and value.
It's very important
may have
that
specific
we get
requirements
the attention. So that's why
due to their nature,
we are still preparing to get pregnant.
The shape,
we undergo all those processes
weight,
so that we do the right
dimensions
thing.
and some other, or maybe
if
the value.
Sexually transmitted
they may
diseases,
require
they'll have a
special
negative impact
or specific
on the
requirements.
pregnancy. So that's why they have to be treated at an early age, at an early stage before somebody gets pregnant.
That is special cargo. Now,
avoid the use of harmful substances like alcohol, smoking,
dangerous goods,
mentioned that one.
Live
they
animals,
can lead to miscarriage
perishable cargo,
or
weight cargo, and at times temperature-sensitive products. Among others,
you have some babies born with abnormalities because the parents were using harmful substances.
Live animals.
So when the baby is born, you are even shocked why the baby is born that way, yet you are using harmful substances.
These
so
ones,
it's very important that
specific
we follow the right procedures. Let's avoid. Do you have any who are using harmful
substances? Since this kind of cargo requires specific handling.
Do we have? Yes or no?
It means there must be rules and regulations
do you plan to get
need to be followed when you're handling such kind of
or you remain single?
Cargo.
If you plan to get married, you have to start thinking seriously about this.
That kind of cargo.
Because you wouldn't want to one day have a baby who has an abnormality because you're using harmful substances.
Each type of cargo,
the way you started, it's possible to even stop because nobody was born doing this, right?
There are bodies that are responsible for setting up these rules and regulations.
So in the same way,
for example, we say
because
when we are looking at life
a happy life at the end
of part of special cargo, as we've seen.
Okay, we don't want to
there are some
keep having miscarriages because of the harmful substances. They interfere with the growth of the baby. Okay.
So it means,
so let's make sure
these were
we have
categories. For example,
good
if
health,
these were to be categories,
it means good care of ourselves,
there was supposed to be a set of rules to be followed in handling a specific category. For example,
any questions so far?
When you're looking at special cargo, probably they say weight cargo.
Any questions? Preparations before pregnancy. Is it okay? Is it okay? Okay.
So we are assuming that
during pregnancy, we are saying life begins at conception. Although we normally talk as if life begins when a child is born. But when a child is born, that child is already 9 months old. Right? That child is already 9 months old when they are born. Because their life began at conception. However, we start counting
here. So we are assuming that
we lose out
there must be
9 months.
That was responsible for setting up rules.
Okay. Maybe because we don't know the exact date when
to handle live animals
the 9 months
and so on
began,
and so forth.
But
so
we can
one of those prominent bodies, right, is the one that I just mentioned, the international.
So the day the baby is born, they are already international 9 months old.
Air Transportation
because
Association.
Life began
IATA.
at conception.
That's one of those organizations, associations, or bodies.
Soon as conception has taken place, it's a period of rapid growth and development.
And this one is called the ICAO.
Therefore, good nutrition is very important so that we support the growth and development process. So there is a lot of cell division, a lot of rapid growth to make sure all the necessary parts that are supposed to be there are in place. Okay? So it's from conception, it's a period of rapid growth and development. So there is cell division, cell development. Like I said, there is specific cellular activities that can only occur at this time. Once they have been missed at this time, that period will not come again. That child will have an abnormality. Okay? So, this particular few first days or few first months are very important for these activities to take place. Once we miss them,
international bodies,
we cannot repair them. It will be an abnormality that will have happened. They cannot be recovered later in years.
There is safety, safety of people, passengers, goods, and so on and so forth. Now,
so it's very important to have good nutrition during the critical period. For example, we have the development of the neural tube. between the first 17 to 30 days of gestation.
This ICA
and this is most of the times a period where you are not sure whether you are pregnant.
That one is a specialized
you don't know
UN agency
whether you are pregnant or not. But that is the time when the neurotube is supposed to be formed.
Whereas that one is an association.
So once that period has been missed, it cannot be reversed.
The ICAO here is a specialized agency of the UN.
That's why we are supposed to prepare before
the principles and the techniques of international
so if
air
I am
navigation.
well prepared before I get
it coordinates
pregnant,
the principles and the techniques
I don't know that I have conceived, but because my body is healthy, my body is fit, my body is nutritionally well, that period will take place properly because there will be enough nutrients in my body to support that critical period.
Navigation.
Are we together?
So, principles basically just like in guidelines, not necessarily.
If I don't have enough nutrients, that period is going to be missed.
And not rules.
So the development of the embryo,
you can derive
many tissues are in their critical period at this point in time.
That
remember, once missed,
it comes up with
cannot be reversed.
Principles.
We cannot reverse it later
as in how
in years.
we can navigate through air
that child will be born with an abnormality.
After that one, some other bodies that are a bit smaller.
So that's why it's very important that we make sure we are well prepared.
Formulate the rules and regulations based on the
so the neurotube is the beginning structure of the brain and the spinal cord.
So we are assuming
the neurotube, that's the structure which up is going to form the brain and then it will form the spinal cord. We all know what the spinal cord
when they are using air transportation.
Okay,
that is the principle. So
just imagine once the neurotube has been missed,
in accordance with
the child will be born with a
whereas now some other bodies like this one,
and that will not be reversed for the rest of their lives.
So it says there must be safety.
So we wouldn't want such kind of a scenario. That's why we want to make sure we are well prepared before time, so that make sure that when the neurotube is being able to come up with those rules, starts dividing into the brain and the spinal cord, the body should be able to support the process.
Between ICAO and IHTA.
So failure of the neurotube to close or develop normally leads to the central nervous system disorders.
A narrower
because once the spinal cord is formed, that's where you have your central nervous system coming in, and then all those processes. I don't want to go into the details of biology. I know you already learned that one somewhere. But we just want to make sure we bring in the nutritional aspect, why it is important as the critical period of pregnancy is taking place.
That one is a government agency.
Okay. Have I confused you?
The road transportation.
Are we together?
Right?
Okay.
Then we
so
have
once the neurotube successfully develops and closes, the brain and the spinal cord are going to form normally.
Road transport players and specifically
so the success depends
through that association. Those
on
are able to
vitamin B9
and guidelines as in how they can
when we talk of vitamin B, we are looking at our nutrition. We go back to our nutrition. That's where we start. That's why we started by looking at
of the passengers as well.
And all those other
those ones aspects. They are also guided by the Road Traffic Directorate. So in other ways, you can say that the Road Traffic Directorate here is a bit higher with a wider scope as compared to the Universe Owners Association. But both of them, they are trying to make sure that this road transportation and especially
the brain, the spinal cord
sector, this one, passenger service is at least effective.
Once the heart has a problem,
they are trying to achieve
you've heard of some
such objectives of making sure that you are comfortable on the roads.
Those are things
their scope of work are different. So the same applies to those.
So we want as much as possible to have a baby who has all the necessary parts in place. Okay, so the central nervous system, the heart requires or develops during the critical period. The eyes form during the critical period. The ears form during the critical period. The legs and arms form during the critical period. Your teeth, yes, the baby is born without teeth, but they are formed during that period.
What I was doing there, I was only trying to highlight the
palate
that is there, the difference
and
that
then
is there
the external
ICAO
genitalia. They are formed during that critical
is a bit
period.
in ISO score than the,
So that's why it's very important that
that
follow
ICAO
the processes that are
is
required.
a UN agency.
So that's where you and
there
me come in
to
as
set
being
the
very
principles,
important
right? To set the principles.
in the whole process as
Guys, we are here.
nutritionists. So I wouldn't expect to one day meet you
right?
in town, you have your baby who has a problem because you were careless.
So
that means this class hasn't helped us.
That one. So in the
Because change has got to begin with us, right?
Airlines,
we are the change agents. So we are supposed to be the ones who start changing. So that when we go to change others, we have already changed. So we should already start thinking of, okay,
in other ways,
when my time comes, this is what I expect.
rules,
now that I know the importance of nutrition during pregnancy, I will start preparing
then we have
way before, so that when the time comes, I am well set, I am okay, and things are fine.
The reason why I brought in the Road Traffic Directorate, it was just an example.
Okay.
Let's say
so there is still research being done on the neurotube defects with a lot of aspects that come with it, aside food. The issues of maternal obesity, I think we already discussed that one. The issues of maternal diabetes, family history of pregnancy-related defects.
So
all those come into play.
I say,
remember,
so
we said when we are discussing issues of nutrition, there are several other aspects that come into play. Nutrition is not a straight line.
Specific rules.
There are several projections that come into play when you're looking at issues of nutrition.
Special cargo. Now,
okay, so there is a dramatic change in the woman's body during pregnancy.
IATA regulations.
Support
this IATA
growth.
Sets
rules and regulations. What are some of the changes that take place
but
when a woman is pregnant?
What are those rules? So to begin with, we should remember that these IATA or IATA regulations are based on the principles and
the diet,
by governing bodies such as ICAO. ICAO is responsible for recommending standards.
There are some cravings that
safety standards,
come along with it,
and of course overall transportation standards. It recommends.
Some cravings are good, some cravings are not.
Breaks down those recommendations into specific rules,
to be responsible to make sure.
So,
they only follow and feed the cravings that are going to support
rules and regulations
of the baby
to be
positively. Any other changes?
Friendly to the needs of the air transport users.
Happen in a woman's life.
They are
pregnant.
Tailor-made. When you're saying they are tailor-made, they are customized according to specific needs of the air transport users. The air regulations and rules for them to be friendly.
What else?
They are customized according to the
if I told you I was 9 months pregnant, would
air
you
transport
believe me?
users. So she may have specific needs according to the kind of cargo that she is
my body hasn't changed.
And
so what happens when a woman is pregnant? What other changes happen?
He may have specific needs according to the kind of cargo he is transporting.
You can tell that woman is pregnant as the months progress, right? So there is the change in their shape, body shape. What else?
Those specific needs we are about.
What else?
We are assuming that this answer here, this one, according to her needs,
loss of appetite, yes.
And according to him, according to his needs,
changes.
his couple is animals. So those that are affected by this IATA.
Okay, some women your skin lightens up, others it gets dark, others it forms pimples, others it gets smooth. There are all those changes that come up due to the hormones that get released as the baby is growing. The hormonal changes can cause all that. Apart from that, there will also be issues of increase in volume of blood in order to sustain.
What are those three bodies? Let me show you.
Okay. There will be an increase in blood volume by almost half to enable the transportation of more nutrients, since she's sharing whatever she's eating with the baby. So the same amount of blood that I have before I get pregnant will not be enough. That's why when they start going to the antenatal clinic, they give them iron tablets to help them increase the amount of blood in their system, so that the volume of blood increases, so as to ensure there is more nutrients being transported even to the growing fetus. So the joints become more flexible in preparation for childbirth. Okay, that's why when the woman is underage, it becomes an issue, because they are still growing. The bones are still growing, not yet at a level where they can stand the pressures of childbirth. Okay, so they end up having issues of fistula and stuff. I don't want to get into the details of that, but it's very important that a woman is at the right age for them to get pregnant. So the joints become more flexible. There is high concentration of estrogen hormone that leads to the swelling of the feet. Okay, most women when pregnant, their feet swell. When they have their babies, then their feet get back to normal. Their breasts enlarge in preparation for lactation, in preparation for breastfeeding. There are some hormonal changes that sometimes influence the mood because of the pressures happening in her body. Sometimes she wake up, she doesn't want to talk to anybody, she looks dull. Sometimes she wake up, she's excited. So all those mood changes, mood swings, if the husband is not prepared, it becomes an issue. Why are you angry? I'm not angry. But you don't look happy. But yet this woman, it's because of the pressures that are happening in her. So that's why we go back to, we need to prepare emotionally, mentally, physically for the pregnancy. There shouldn't be issues of it was an accident. A pregnancy is never an accident. Yes or no? It's never an accident. Yes or no? It's never an accident. Why am I saying it's never an accident? Because you start way back, going one step after another, one step after another, until you finally do what you had to do, and then you say it was an accident. It doesn't get digested in the stomach, and you know. Are we together? A pregnancy is never an accident. It's just a scapegoat that we use to say, no, it was an accident. I didn't know I was going to get pregnant. When you are doing it, what do you think you were doing? What did you think was happening? Those things do not get digested. They have their own compartment where they go. Are we together? So it's never an accident. We have to make sure we plan and prepare for it. Okay? There is need to have good choices of food from all the 6 food groups. There is need to have good choices of food from all the 6 food groups. As somebody is going through the pregnancy, make sure you have good sources of food. There is an increased need for energy to cater for increased metabolic processes and body changes. So when I'm planning my meal, I make sure I have an increase of the meals that provide energy. So therefore, I should ensure an additional carbohydrate in my diet to make sure there is an increase in energy. All the metabolic processes that take place in our bodies require energy.
All right, so let's proceed. Somebody was trying to bewitch me here.
Take place properly.
Stuff. And I know that person, but anyway,
so there is need to increase.
So we were saying
to
make sure that there is
iron,
customization,
like I said, because there
in
is
terms
an
of the rules
blood,
and regulations
volume,
that govern
protein, which is going to help in cell multiplication.
Under
the
IATA.
folate of B vitamins,
one of these bodies
also going
is
to help to ensure in the
dangerous goods board, DGB, that is. And this one is responsible for setting up the rules.
So you find that at the end of the day, nutrition plays a very important
in
role
air transportation
when it comes to
IATA
the
was
development
of coming up with rules and regulations, and for it to come up with specific rules that are responsive to the needs of dangerous goods, then it can come up with this board, dangerous goods body. Then I mentioned the second one. This one is a board that is responsible for setting up rules governing the handling of time-sensitive goods. So this one is called Time and Temperature Working Group. TTWG.
After getting this information, how are you going to support that sister?
So this is
how best should we make sure whatever
under
happens,
the same IATA,
she is safe,
and its specific responsibility is to set up rules that will govern the handling of dangerous goods when they are transit or when they are being
emotional support. Why should we give her emotional support?
Air as a mode of transportation. Then there is a third
for her well-being as well as the well-being of the
baby, because
the boy who impregnated her has run away,
setting up rules that govern the transportation of perishables and live animals. So this one is the live animals.
We cancel her for her emotional well-being, because whatever is happening in her emotions will be transferred to the baby.
These 3 bodies,
if the mother is not well taken care of emotionally, the baby will be born with a
guidelines
rejection
and rules, making sure that
so we support her emotionally, we counsel her. Of course, we are not happy with what we have done,
handled
because we are supposed to go to school. Now here we are.
You see that
but we want to make sure you accept this situation as happened. Now what next? Okay,
we have those
emotional support. What else?
That are there to put up specific rules for specific needs of air transport user SIM. Now, much as we might have appreciated the significance of
ensuring
this
she's
air
eating
transportation,
well.
but it is not there
Somebody is
without
emotionally
its own
affected. Sometimes
challenges,
the
and of course
appetite goes. Remember,
that
we discussed
are
that
associated
at some
with
point, that our appetite can sometimes be affected
in different parts
because
of the
of the
world
situation that
and
we are
different
going through.
countries, for that matter.
So we have to make
This
sure we help her to
kind of
still
transportation,
eat
air transportation,
for herself
faced with
as well
numerous
as
challenges,
for the
to the
baby.
point that some of the players are
Anything else?
excusing themselves.
These are the kinds of questions that you should expect in an exam. Don't expect questions like, what is pregnancy?
That are here.
If there will be questions for
one
you
of
to
the
define, they'll be very few.
challenges
But if
that
anything,
this
would want you to
industry,
be able
the
to
aviation
apply
industry, that
the knowledge that you have
facing
learned.
is the issue of
Okay, because
fuel
that is what will be
efficiency.
expected when you go out there.
The issue of fuel efficiency is a bigger
you will not
issue
be defining,
there,
but there will be a
and
situation,
actually
and you are
it
there as a
remains
nutritionist
a major economic
to
issue
provide
affecting
guidance.
this industry.
Okay.
So this fuel efficiency, we are talking about
how else
the
can we help
availability
this
of fuel
19-year-old sister?
and of course the cost of fuel. These two, to a certain extent, are making it difficult for some other airlines to survive.
Okay.
Mind you, these
we encourage her not to just be locking herself up in the room. She should be out there, move around, do some
you can imagine a situation where an aircraft is flying from here, maybe to the next destination.
What else?
Is burning,
looking at what we have learned so far,
huge volumes of fuel, but they are carrying, or maybe it is only carrying few passengers. It is always a loss from the part of the airline. So the bottom line is, most of the airlines find it difficult to sustain their operations due to
okay, we should be very specific about her diet to make sure
unfortunately
she is eating well for her and the
ever
baby.
Since these aircrafts were invented,
ever
since this technology, aircraft technology was
it
came into
do a thorough check on her.
There hasn't been any alternative.
Those issues need to be taken
energy
care of at an
ones.
early stage.
It has always been.
So we make sure we take care of her physically. She's eating well.
So
she's healthy.
There were some other
she's doing exercises
of energy.
She's not just locking herself up. We help her mentally to accept the situation that she's in and be able to rise above it and be able to do the right things for her and the baby.
A major challenge,
help her emotionally to make sure she is able to still move forward and find reason for living.
Another challenge,
because others will end up either killing themselves or they will think of aborting. So when it comes to that, it's a 50-50 thing. She can be successful, but have ruptured their uterus, meaning they will not be able to get pregnant again. So you don't correct a wrong by bringing another.
Can also determine
altogether. So we make sure we support. Things have happened. What has happened is not okay, but we make sure we support her so that she is able to pull through properly, because
that are not doing
there are pressures within her, and then pressures in her mind, and then pressures from outside, because her friends will be laughing at her and stuff. People will be mocking her and all that. So she needs that support system to make sure she pulls
traveling up and down, doing their businesses and so on and so forth. If the economy is not good, it means not many people
have an additional meal
to
the normal pattern. If normally it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, this time that the woman is pregnant, there should be an additional meal, a fourth kind of meal, so that she's getting enough for herself as well as for the baby.
So, the economies are performing good.
And then the use of iodized salt, I think we already discussed that one at length, to avoid the goiter. Exercises, we start slowly. Doesn't have to be something very vigorous.
That is there.
Like we said, walking is the best exercise that one can have.
Experience.
Okay. Visiting that antenatal care.
Now,
soon as you realize that you're pregnant. But most of the times, people will go for the
air
antenatal
transportation
care,
or this aviation
maybe
industry,
when they are 6 months.
is a service.
Why?
driven.
Because of the
So in a
cultural
service,
beliefs that are there. What are some of the cultural beliefs surrounding pregnancy?
it's not that easy when a service provider, because
When people know that
their
they're pregnant
levels
at an early stage,
satisfaction
they will
are not
remove that pregnancy.
always uniform. There is no uniformity when it comes to
So you make sure you hide it.
because that guy says no, this
That
is good
is one of the
in the eyes of
beliefs that
somebody.
is out.
The same thing cannot be good.
So because of that, they will
So
not go to
it is
the
difficult for
antenatal
you to
clinic
define that
until
this is the best
too late
service
in
that I'm
the,
offering, because to somebody that one is not
in
the
the
best service.
progress.
So to
And then
keep
at
up
the end of
with
the day, you'll find
the
that
needs of
maybe
passengers
by the time they get to the
is not
antenatal
always
clinic,
easy. It's always
they
very, very
discover
expensive.
they have a
challenging.
healthy issue,
That's why
which
we find
if
that
they
there are some other
knew at
airlines
an early stage was going to be arrested, if they were going to receive the right help. Okay. Maybe they are HIV
the levels
positive
of
and they
customer
didn't know.
satisfaction,
So
the
they've
customers
hidden
or the
until they are
passengers,
6 months,
their
and
demands
they were not following the right
increasingly
procedures. They will have affected
more
the baby
and
by
more
that.
difficult for an airline to meet.
Okay.
It means the airline
So
needs to
very
invest more
important
in
that we
as far as
visit
the
the
satisfaction of
antenatal
customers
clinic
is
at the right
concerned.
time.
So such
Any
investments
questions?
in that are
Any
unpredictable
questions?
becomes
Is it
so
clear?
difficult. For example, we have airlines
Yes, please.
that are probably the best, at least as of now, the airlines that we know. We hear of Emirates here.
How
We
can
hear
we help
of
someone who has been chased out of their
what are some of
parents'
the airlines
home
that you know,
because they are
the
pregnant?
big ones as of now, apart from
Let's
Emirates.
discuss.
Of course, locally we have Ethiopia here. What else? British
How do we go about it?
British Airways.
Maybe say yes.
Sorry,
How can we help
I know you don't.
someone
So
who has been sent
we
out
have
of
the
their
likes of
parents'
Qatar.
home
Now,
because they are pregnant?
if you are using the kind of service
Dorothy is
delivery associated with
pregnant,
those airlines cannot be
a
compared with the
second
kind
year
of service
student
delivery
at
associated with some other
Unilever,
local
and
airlines that
then
we
the
have.
parents
So
send her out
our
of
local
her home. And you
airlines
have
find
heard
it
that your
difficult
classmate
to
has
keep
been
up
sent out
with
of
what others
their
are
parents'
doing
home.
in as far as customer
Why?
satisfaction
Because they are
is
pregnant.
concerned.
How do we help that
So
person?
anyway, that is a challenge. Another challenge that is faced by this industry is airline infrastructure. Airports
Okay. I'm
must
also a child.
consistently
I'm being
be
taken
upgraded.
care of
Now,
by parents
upgrading
or
these
guardians.
infrastructures
I
is
can't
not cheap,
bring her to our home,
and
but
it
I can be able to counsel her, talk to
in
her,
the
give her emotional support.
quality of those
Okay.
infrastructures
What
or
else?
those facilities, thereby reducing the number of patrons or those that were or are likely going to
Is there
patronize
anything
their
else we can do?
infrastructures. For example, an
Okay, she's
airport, for
been
example,
chased
our
out
own
of
here,
the
we have
parents' home. Where
Chirek
is she?
International Airport here, Kamuzu International Airport. Those ones
Okay.
need to be upgraded from time to time.
If-
Now, if they are not,
So
the
those
chances
are
are
some of the things. We first
some
of
of the
all,
airlines that can be shying
we're
away
supposed to
from
offer
operating
emotional support.
here. They'll be saying, no, the
At the same
infrastructures
time,
there are
she needs to
substandard
know
or are not
that
safe.
she needs
So
to
that one is like
understand
you are
the
deprived
fact
of
that
business and
whatever
business
happens,
opportunities.
the parents are not
So
happy.
to survive in
Not that they hate
the
her,
competition,
but they are
it
not
means that these
happy. You know, there is
infrastructures,
no
they need
parent
to
who
be
feels good when something shameful happens in the home,
upgraded from time to time.
right? At the same time,
And the
she
infrastructures
needs
we're
to
talking
know
about here
that
are
even
not only
staying at
the
a
airports,
friend's house
even
or
the
at a
aircraft
relative's
themselves
house is
also
not an
need to
answer.
be upgraded.
She still needs to
So
talk to the parents,
to
because there will be certain things that the friend cannot make decisions of. True or false? Let's assume
where you find yourself
it's time
be
to
less
deliver,
competitive in the competitive
and then she's told
business
we are going
space.
to do cyst.
Then
You know what I
there
mean
is
by
another
cesarean
challenge
section
here,
operation. Who is
global
going to sign?
ingestion.
The friend
There
cannot
is
sign.
global
It will
ingestion
require the parents to come
as
and
a major
sign and
challenge.
authorize.
Here in Malawi,
So
probably
it will be very important
have
to
seen
help this particular person to understand the fact that although the parents sent her out of the home, it
but
doesn't mean
out
they hate
there
her.
in the
But
developed world,
they are not
this
happy with
problem
what
is
happened.
real.
So
There
she
are some
needs to
airports
accept So that's the emotional support that he was talking about. She needs to accept what happened is wrong. Okay? What happened is wrong. I was not supposed to do this much.
Every minute, there's a queue of aircrafts that are trying to. A lot of aircrafts in the air, hovering around, they are trying to land.
Principles of Jan Kaja.
Another.
What's
and the time.
Nutrition and sanitation.
A number of problems.
Or just principles of nutrition.
Cancelled flights, accidents at times, and a lot more inconveniences. Is another challenge associated with the same. Technological advancements. Today, in today's world, is very important in every aspect of life.
Okay, so
every aspect of life is yes, technological advancements. So I'm trying to say something on it.
So we make sure we provide emotional support.
Very important.
Very important. Apanga accept that whatever happened is wrong. So from there, we also need to make sure she comes to understand that whatever the case, the parents are supposed to be part of what is happening in her life.
Okay?
If there is a way that can happen, whether this relative to go and talk to the parents, very important.
Can be very, very helpful.
Or this friend, better if it's a relative.
When there is
but for a friend,
these technologies also can bring,
because anything happening to this girl, this friend will have to answer.
Effects.
I will get.
For example,
so you don't keep someone
that we know or we
without the knowledge of the relatives in the name of trying to be a good Samaritan.
Autopilot or something like this. But
because if, for example, in the night she decides to drink 100 tablets to kill herself, the police will be on you. You will be the one to answer. The very same parents will come and say, what have you done to our child? I will get. So you make sure whatever happens, if that person has come to your place as a friend, you connect with the parents. So and so has come here telling me that she was sent out of the home because of 1, 2, 3. I wanted you to know. Is there anything that we can do together?
So please observe.
So in that way, you are pulling yourself out in case something happens along the way. But very important to help her emotionally, very important to help her accept and understand, and at the same time, help her to get connected back to the parents again. So that whatever happens during the process, they are part of what is happening. I don't know if I've helped you. Any other comments? Okay.
While we appreciate the significance of technologies,
so there is need to
increase, and of course,
there is an increased need for nutrients responsible for bone development,
double-edged sword with
vitamin D, calcium, phosphorus.
So,
however, there are some common nutritional related issues or concerns with pregnancy, issues of nausea. You know what nausea is?
Any problem with these technologies can have catastrophic effects or can cripple the entire industry. For example, in March 2019, if I'm not wrong,
they will vomit.
There was an accident.
They will smell things that some of you are not smelling. The very same water, they will tell you this water is smelling bad. Why? Because of the sensitivity comes in due to the hormonal changes that are taking place in their bodies. Sometimes they will eat something, they vomit. They wake up in the morning, they vomit. They look at what, so that also becomes a concern in the sense that it affects the nutritional need that the body requires. So they will eat food properly, but then most of it goes out as they vomit. Sometimes there are issues of constipation, which also is a concern. Issues of heartburn. We know what heartburn is. Do you know what heartburn is? Okay, can you explain? Okay, you heard what he said, right? Okay, so those are some of the things that will happen, and there will be food sensitivities. Food sensitivities in the sense that the very same food that others are eating, she will say, no, this food is smelling bad. The very same nice food, she will taste something different. Okay? So that becomes a concern in the sense that it affects the amount of nutrients that get into her body. If there is more of food sensitivity, more of nausea, more of what, it affects, instead of eating 4 meals, she might end up eating 1 meal. So that becomes an issue. Especially the Western. How do we help her? When waking up, make sure you rise up slowly. When waking up from sleep, tell her, rise up slowly. Don't just wake up, boom, you end up vomiting. Okay? If possible, eat dry toast bread or dry chukonda moyo. When you just wake up, it helps to suppress the nausea.
This one,
so eat small frequent meals. Eat small meals, small amount of food. After a short while, you eat again. After a short while, you eat again. Sorry, I have an irritation on my throat.
What did the airlines do? They had
so you avoid foods with strong smells. Avoid foods that have strong smells, because it might lead to the sensitivities that we're talking about. You eat foods with lots of fiber so that you avoid constipation. So lots of vegetables, foods that have fiber to avoid constipation, and do exercises. Not vigorous, but simple ones to just make sure your heart and your bones and everything, they are strong enough. Drink plenty of safe water and healthy liquids. We said 8 glasses a day, 8 glasses of 250 ml each, which translates to about 2 liters, a minimum. Very important. Okay? When she has the urge to ease herself, she needs to respond promptly to avoid constipation. Don't squeeze yourself and wait for a long time. You lead to constipation. Exercising so that you do not vomit. Any questions this far?
Actually, when we say 9/11 is an incident that happened as
Any questions?
saying, some terrorists from the Islamic world, not Islamic world,
How is the
anyway, from the
going?
Middle East, anyway, they hijacked some aircrafts within the US territory and smashed them onto some infrastructures in the US. There were 3 aircrafts, if I'm not wrong, that were hijacked on that fateful morning.
How is that?
It was
how is that?
11 September. That's why we waited 9/11, because it was on 11th on the 9th.
Oh, waiting on another sign.
So it was 11th September 2001. So these people, they did this. It was in the morning. They hijacked a civilian plane.
Let's take note
they
of the
smashed it into one of the buildings. They call them what? In New York. Then a few minutes later, another aircraft was also hijacked and they smashed it into another building. Then again, there was another aircraft that was the same jet in a space of
So let's make sure we work on it. Like I said, the earlier we do it, the better, so that we have time to revise for the mid-semester exam.
Of course, they managed to hit part of.
Okay, so it will help us.
There was also another aircraft.
The mid-semester exam.
The same day, very important. And they planned to. Okay.
Otherwise, enough for today.
And they crashed all these things were happening now. The US government realized that now there was a serious attack happening. So what happened?
I'm preparing for the US president. I think we need to agree on that one. When can be the best day for us to go for the field visit?
For some hours, it is said in the sky for 8 to 12 hours.
When can be the best?
Because now they couldn't you see, so they had to take him elsewhere into the sky, just flying around. You have seeing that. I think we are now in danger. So a few days later, it transpired that it was this guy, the infamous guy who was there. Is it Osama bin Laden who was behind these attacks? You see, so now the US government they declared war on terrorism.
I'm almost going towards the end of finalizing the process, but I need to set the date.
So the years
I
that
didn't want to set
like that.
the
Now,
day without checking with you guys.
Became so dangerous. Everybody was scared because with those incidents,
so if we say Tuesday next week,
thousands of people died. So for its sake,
in the morning,
you can try to check. Even if you go to YouTube, 9/11 incident, there are hundreds of thousands of videos that you're going to watch, live videos, not like
so movies, the most important thing, like I said, is when we go for this visit,
that was terrorism,
we want to have hands-on experience of how malnourished children look, and take note of whatever
there for some time. So it has been very difficult
and procedures that the hospital takes
to maintain safety and security
to ensure they recover.
And they spend a lot on this thing.
Okay, so as much as possible, be open-minded when we get there. Ask questions when we get there, so that you learn as much as possible from them. Okay, so soon as I'm ready with once I discuss with the dean and the process is done, I'll communicate so that we know the time and where we start from as we go to. So it will either be central or community
so much into the environment,
depending on where.
Now, the aviation industry is believed to be one of those suspects.
Okay. So since we have said Tuesday is okay,
gases into the atmosphere.
I'll try and see if we can do it Tuesday next week. That would be my target, but I should be able to communicate before then. Let's be checking on our WhatsApp group for messages and information.
That you are responsible.
Okay. So if there are any other questions that you have in as far as the malnourished children and us is concerned, please have them well said so that when we get there, the trip should be fruitful. There will be questions from there as well. Okay. So let's get set, let's get prepared. Otherwise, I wish you well.
You must take responsibility over some of these things that are going to climate change. How are they going to be responsible? What do you think? Let's think of it. Good. Yes, let's think of it.
Will they lessen the time of the flights? Could ask a Kalambiri, but then time to say we'll have 3 flights today.
Okay. So all right, fine. Here, I am an environmentalist, right? For example, then I'm holding you responsible. My friend, you are contributing so much to this thing. You're emitting so much. So otherwise, I'm going to penalize you. I'm going to fine you. For example,
did they tell you where to switch off this one?
In risk, there's a story.
Did he explain where to switch off? Oh, okay.
I think yes. What are you doing now, right? Now it's up to you to come up with ways through which you can what? You can reduce. So the ways through which these things, the ones that you are suggesting, the consolidation of your routes and everything, for example, finding with aircrafts that are fuel efficient, that are not consuming so much fuel, finding alternative sources,
Thank you.
for example. So we are just suggesting, but
I use your pen.
now, because of